All right, folks. Well, this is it. It's going to be Dengler and Sidnev in semifinal number 1. Let's go ahead and get them started in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. That's right. Our first semifinal will be Dengler and Sidnev. You know Dengler as the player who made a pretty good run into the Classic Tetris World Championship this year. I don't know. Do I dare bring it up? Like, I don't know. I mean, the videos have been posted. Is there still spoilers at this point? All right, well, close your ears if you don't want to hear a spoiler. Dengler made it into the semifinals in CTWC this year. Also the player who was the first player ever to get a perfect max out. Happened a few months back. A perfect max out, meaning no singles, doubles, or triples. Tetris is only on the way to a max out. And if you think that is easy, well, go ahead and give it a shot. 91,000 here for Dengler. 92,000 is versus Sidnev as we get underway here in semifinal number 1. Sidnev, of course, a veteran of the classic Tetris scene, has made it to the semifinals. I counted very roughly. It seems like 17 or 18 times. Sidnev with the Vits has gone to the final 6 times, looking for her first ever Classic Tetris Monthly Masters event victory. And of note, their most recent big match against each other was in that very Classic Tetris World Championship event, with Dengler knocking Sidnev out of the top 8. But before that, it was almost entirely Sidnev with the upper hand in CTWCs and CTMs. So basically within CTM and CTW, well, it's really only CTMs. Within CTMs, it was Sidnev defeating Dengler every single time. I think there was one CTL where Dengler might have beaten Sidnev. But before that, it was all Sidnev. So Sidnev may be looking for a little bit of retribution, but more than anything wants to get through into those finals to have another shot at a championship. 240 here for Sidnev, 257 for Dengler. And you may have noticed that in our semifinals, our 4 players this month, 3 of them have been in the finals or the semifinals the last 3 months, right? So this month it's Dengler, Sidnev, Alex T, and Scooty. And last month it was Sidnev, Alex T, Scooty, and Eyeball, and then that was the same the previous month. So Dengler playing the Eyeball role this month, but very, very consistent for our semi-finalists, really making their case for being the top 3 players in the world. I haven't looked at the results of the premier poll, just sort of the experts poll of Classic Tetris rankings. That happens every single month, run by Pumpy Heart. But, certainly those 3 players got to be top 5, somewhere in the top 5. Anybody who thinks any of those players falls outside the top 5 at this point, well, you might want to rethink that. 442 for Dengler, 382 for Sidnev. Dengler out of the United States of America, Sidnev out of the Netherlands. How do you get chosen to vote in that poll? Well, you have to ask Pumpy about it, but I think it's broadcasters and journalists. So if you're a prominent broadcaster, I guess if you do CTM Masters, then that barely gets you in. Oh, and Ryan Ambergy. Yeah, all those people plus Ryan Hamburger. 454 for Sidnev, 513 for Dengler. Tetris says, Ryan is basically the head anchor of Beepo Monk News. Did I just mention Beepo Monk during a Masters broadcast? Oh, my word. Dan V, can you bleep that out? You know, we I don't want to open up that whole kettle of fish. In fact, just delete this entire bracket. 604 for Dengler, 505 for Sidnev, and Sidnev's playing great, but Dengler, very, very efficient. You know, has gotten used to playing, you know, a minimal Burns style. He really grinded that, you know, that perfect max out was not just an accident where, oh, let me just play some PB games and just happened to get one with no burns. No, that was a specific goal that Dengler had and did a lot of study and grinding for it. Sidnev, by the way, into 19, 602. Dengler here, 677. And now 701, still on 19 for Dengler. Yeah, Dengler made that a goal. Studied Tetris AIs and practiced all the stacking and made a ton of attempts, a long grind. And I think that grind for Dengler is sort of what catapulted him into this kind of now sort of in a higher echelon of players than I think he was before that grind. So that sort of worked out for him. 781 for Dengler, 661 for Sidnev, up a little bit high on 19. It's going to take a sim and get a Tetris to bring this stack back down. Dengler Tetris over 807 on 21 and another Tetris 835 here on 22. 692 for Sidnev through the same lines. So a 140,000 point lead for Dengler through the same lines. Someone in chat saying, just like Fractal with PAL colors. Yeah, going for these individual achievements. And, you know, not necessarily just getting the highest PB, but these other kind of niche achievements does seem to help players get to a whole other level. I mean, who'd have thought? Practice works. Who would have thought? 950 for Dengler, 759 for Sidnev. Now, remember, we do start out on level 18. There's 130 lines of that, 100 lines of 19 speed. And we transition to level 29, where the speed will increase again. And then there's a terminal, basically, level 39 super kill screen that's implemented. So players right now about 40 lines away from the level 29 speed increase. Dengler's got the max out on 25, actually more than a max out plus. Sidnev 863. Other Tetris Dengler. So huge pace. You know, both of these players, and certainly Sidnev has a reputation as kind of a pace lord. But right now it's Dengler with the huge pace. And this is great pace for Sidnev, of course, but there's a dirty Tetris and actually setting up for another one. Dengler really with his first slowdown of the entire game right now. Just about 20 lines to go until 29. So he's going to need to bring this down. This is going to give Sidnev, if she can stay efficient, a chance to close the gap here a little bit. Max out for Sidnev, 28. Gets another Tetris, A37. Dengler is now clean and clear and has two more Tetrises available before 28. There's one. He's just a couple thousand points short of a 1.2 headed into 29. Sidnev is the first one in and has an A76. It's going to uncover that right side and get a Tetris. Dengler is in at C34. So Dengler with about 120,000 point lead and has a few lines in hand. Tetris for Sidnev, B55. Sidnev certainly with much more competitive experience at the highest levels than Dengler. So we'll see what's going to happen here. But Dengler with a big lead going into 29. Kind of a line dependency in the middle of the stack. Sidnev's just going to have to bring this down bit by bit. Dengler with a Tetris, D26. There's one for Sidnev, C08. Still about 120,000 point lead or so for Dengler. This is going to be tough to chase down. I mean, Dengler, if he can just kind of keep staying alive and keep getting points and just continue to put lines on the board and get closer and closer to that 39. where it's basically unsurvivable. Tetris over for Dengler, D86, but Sidnev closing the gap a little bit, D06. There's another Tetris for Sidnev. He's back by about 80,000 points again, but is about 5 lines ahead. And another Tetris for Sidnev. So Sidnev starting to pour it on. Very efficient here on 29. You would say that Sidnev probably has the advantage here on 29. And she's starting to close the gap even more. Dengler setting up for a Tetris. There's one for Sidnev. E88. She's back by about 10,000 points. Now, she does have lines in hand. That left side is going to have to be dealt with. That's going to slow her down a little bit. Dengler trying to stay alive here, but it's now Sidnev in the lead. F42. Dengler's going to take it back with an F61. Sidnev's center of the board, kind of a problem. A covered well, going to uncover here, waiting for the bar. Trying to keep that well open, brings the stack back down, and Tetris to the right side. That left side is going to have to be dealt with. That's going to slow Sidnev down. And this could give Dengler what he needs to be able to get this lead back. Sidnev with the rollover. And Dengler needs a Tetris and more here. Sidnev going to top out at 0.51. Dengler needs one more. If Dengler gets it, he can take this game. What did he get it? Dengler's going to get that Tetris just before level 39, and Dengler will win game number 1. Sidnev was behind the entire time, started to take a lead with a much more efficient 39, and Dengler stayed alive long enough to get those, to get that last Tetris that he needed on level 38, and will take game number 1. Crazy. Where a 1.65 is not enough. Dengler with a huge game. Sidnev with a huge game as well. Double rollover and almost level 39. What a game number 1. Dengler up 1 game to none. 3-1 Tetris. Oh, bro, I don't know if I'm tired already, but I am just, I mean, that first game is just wild. Just, you know, I mean, it really takes it out of me. Kip, true enough. It's also like super warm in this room, so I don't know. I've been fighting a cold war, pun intended, with Sue a little bit about the temperature. Like, she keeps putting the thermostat up. I keep sneaking it back down. All right, 48,000 for Dengler as we get underway here in game number 2. And Sidnev yet to Tetris through 13 lines, so has a Tetris well open, and there's Tetris number 1. So I'm going to fight through a little bit of traffic early on, Sidnev. And, you know, it is early in 18, so not necessarily a big deal, but we did see that basically that 18 and 19 pace was the difference. But really, the 18 pace was the difference for Dengler in that one. All right, Dengler with a little bit of an awkward setup, but he knows all the weird ways for stacking here, but this could be a problem for Dengler. This is kind of what we've seen Dengler in the past, maybe a little aggro up top here. So we'll see what he can do to try to bring this down. Sidnev with a good stack down the bottom. Going to take some concentration here from Dengler. 169, 164 from Sidnev. Dengler fighting, and Dengler's going to top out at 169. So the chase down is 170 for Sidnev. That long bar gets over. And that is a point for Sidnev, a gift from Dengler to Sidnev. And it's so hard to give a game like that to such a dangerous player as Sidnev. Dengler and Sidnev, 3-1 Tetris. Really tough to give up a game to a dangerous player like Sidnev. You know, it may have been a game that Sidnev won anyway, even if it gone deep, but you want to give yourself a chance here. But then again, Dengler, you know, playing his game, hyper efficiency early on. getting that pace. So we'll see how Dengler adapts for this game number 3. Oh, nice spin tuck there for Sidnev with that T. I always call it, in my head, it's a rumble tuck because that's what I used to call it when I was a kid, when you would like spin tuck that T specifically. I didn't think to call it a spin tuck because I don't think I really knew any spins when I was a kid. Like, not that I would do on purpose. And Sidnev up top near the top of the board had it covered well, so gonna have to bring this down. That was a little bit scary for Sidnev in that moment, but just gonna take it down with a Tetris 83,121 after a Tetris for Dengler. I was not calling them spucks as a child, but I knew that you could do that. Like, I knew that you could rumble that piece in there like that. But I didn't know I certainly didn't know the line spin. That would have changed my whole life. Tetris Sidnev 155, 170 for Dengler. He's trying to bring this down. Has a really pesky gap there in column 2. He's going to try not to allow that to fester. Of course, the game giving him S's and Z's when he really didn't need them. And here's ones he can use finally. $226 for Sidnev in the lead, 183. But here's a Tetris for Dengler, 206. There's one for Sidnev. So about a 2 Tetris lead right now for Sidnev. Dengler back by 4 lines. So he's going to get those 4 lines. So actually about a 1 Tetris lead when their pieces are the same. All right, Sidnev with some work to do in the middle of the stack. That's just going to cost a couple of burns here. Well, maybe a few more now that... Yeah, it's cost about 4 burn lines. 275 here for Sidnev. 254 Dengler. Couple of long bars here for both of them. They will each get 2 Tetrises off the back of those bars. So must have missed that one. Gilded Lizard said that J adjustment for the L was disgusting. I must have missed it. I got a lot of balls in the air here. 347 Dengler, 346 for Sidnev. So just about the same pace, same lines. Neck and neck. Tetris Sidnev 392. There's one Dengler 393. Vanny. It's Clematis Bijou. Well, Clematis Bijou, it's Vandy. How about that? Vandy, who's the person you've most enjoyed doing co-coms with? I wouldn't say, I'm not a person who can usually say this one thing is my favorite. You know, I usually have to give you a list, but, you know, love Ben Mullen, Scout. The few times I've been able to do it with Scout, Sharky, and Lone Star was excellent. Yeah, those are probably, you know, the 3 names that come to mind. I'm sure there are others that I'm forgetting and someone's all offended and sad, but... Oh yeah, Jasmine was really good at Lone Star. 509 for both of our players. Dengler gets a Tetris and another one, 555. Colin. Colin, see, this is it. If you name anyone, then someone's in chat is going to say, oh, what about me? Yeah, I don't know. I can't, well, let's put it this way. I can't think of many bad experiences, and I'm not going to tell you who the bad experiences are. So chances are, if I've done co-coms with you, I have enjoyed it. 583 transition for Dengler, 564 transition for Sidnev. EBM5 gives out 5 community gift subs. Thank you. Dog Watching Tetris gave out 20 subs. Thank you so much, Dog Watching Tetris. EBM9 gave out another gift sub, and Hemalizer gave one out as well. You guys are going nuts. Cole Bucket with the Prime resub. Thank you very much. Cousin Avi gave one out to Blue Scooty's grandpa. So thank you very, very much. Shinobi cheered 100 bits. Is buying a Hype Train emote and supporting the channel. Winning. I don't know anyone who said winning since like 2010, but thank you very much for the bits. Tetris for Sidnev, 729, 725 for Dengler. So the players are keeping it close. Varchild with the sub gift. Thank you very, very much. Varchild, sorry. I'm going to say Subchild. Dengler, Tetris, 765. And they have the same line count and Sidnev ahead by about a Tetris. There's a Tetris Dengler. It's hard to keep up with all the... You're all giving them away during 19, so I can't properly thank you all, you know? I'm trying to focus on the Tetris. And Dengler trying to focus on the Tetris as he cleans up this board that's got a bunch of holes kind of concentrated over on that right side. So trying to take this down, 809. He's finally going to get clean and clear. Sidnev now clean and set up for a Tetris. And there goes a long bar down the Tetris well for Tetris for Sidnev, 890. Thanks for the raid, Sharky. 13 viewers. Wow. All right, bit of a spire here for Sidnev and a gap. This could get a little scary, but nope. Sidnev's going to take care of it. Has a long bar dependency down the middle. And it's going to cover that with a T-piece. Now it's complicated on that right side. I mean, there's kind of gaps over on the right. There's that center well that needs a bar. We'll see how Sidnev attacks this one. 908. This is going to allow Dengler back into the lead. Oh, that's a beautiful L piece for Sidnev to uncover. That's going to be a triple to help bring the stack back down, and just in time because 29 is pretty darn close. 988 for Dengler, another Tetris. He's got the max out. Has one more available before 29. 962 for Sidnev, who's got a Tetris available now. And Dengler is into 29 at A59. All right, Dengler going to get a Tetris, but misses with that Z piece in the middle, so he'll have to build around that. A37 for Sidnev, who is into 29, now into 30. About a Tetris and a third behind. Both players are low, but messy. Sidnev's right side, a little bit of a mess. So she's going to have to go up and get that piece about 6 rows high. And finally, we'll uncover that, and now can maybe stick something down there to bring this down. And Dengler with a good clean board. Sidnev still fighting here, trying to bring this down. Dengler set up for a Tetris, gets a long bar over Tetris. B48 for Dengler. He's ahead by about 70,000 points. The board's starting to climb a little bit, and you can see the concern face going on in the middle. Oh no, and Dengler's going to top out at B49. So the target for Sidnev is B50. And she's bringing this one down. Is 60,000 points behind. That's less than 2 Tetrises, and she is bringing this down. Still not quite ready to Tetris, but has a lot of time. Has about 45 lines to do this, and that is a lot of time. The target, B50. And now Sidnev has a low board. Going to kind of miss with that L piece to the left, so that's going to slow things down, but not going to be too much of a problem for Sidnev as she looks to just kind of single and double this out now. Has plenty of time. That was a triple, I think, B41. And so just about 6,000 points away from chasing this down. And a Tetris there in column 7. It's going to seal game number 3 for Sidnev. GG's. Let us get him started in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. It was fun to do. What I actually liked was the Rubik's, like there was a cube app on the phone, so that was actually fun to do practice on when I was like on a plane or didn't have my cube near me. So I don't know, that was fun because I could at least memorize or at least apply, test my memory as it were. All right, Dengler with a couple of Tetrises, Sidnev with a couple as well. We still got the seed checker on the screen. Get rid of that. Chef Boyar Jeebs says, how's everyone's day going? Well, that is a question for the whole chat and YouTube. How is your day going? Let us know. 139 for Dengler. We'll get a Tetris. 164 Sidnev after a Tetris. Dishwasher 010 says, it's funny how many classic Tetris players are also cubers. I guess it's something to do with blocks, or I don't know. Pattern recognition, that whole thing. 170 Dengler, 191 for Sidnev. About a 2-line difference. All right, Sidnev getting into a little bit of a dig here. That square doesn't present too much of a problem on that right side. In fact, Sidnev set up for a dirty Tetris on the left well. 4 rows high, gets it. And now Dengler with some garbage. Not sure how he's going to kind of handle this, but going to have to get something down there. Oh, look at that. It has an actually clean board. It was a Vitz. Kind of didn't notice the Vitz. And gets a couple Tetrises there into that column 3. For some reason I just didn't register in my head as a Vitz. 333 Dengler, 270 for Sidnev. Sidnev will get a Tetris 292. To me, it just looked like a mess. But not so bad. Oh, did Jasmine miss it? Oh, no. All right, boards on for both players starting to climb a little bit. All right, both players trying to bring this down. Dengler sort of on a downward trajectory. Sidnev sort of on an upward trajectory. This is going to be a problem for Sidnev. And she's not going to be able to bring this down. Maybe a little bit, trying to go a little bit too perfect here. And she's going to top out at 323. And Dengler is good in game number 4. Well, it looks like both players are ready. It is game number 5. The winner makes it into the finals. Let's see who it's going to be. 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Someone asking who I think will win the tournament. I don't say things like that. That would not be fair. All right, Dengler going to fix the stack rather than get that first Tetris, but gets a long bar for Tetris number 1, 22,800 for Dengler, 22,801 for Sidnev. Who's your favorite player ever, Vandy? I don't know. That's well, if we can talk about retired players and not active players, 5 below there for Sidnev. I'd probably go Richard. Berenyi KFT. Both players, all Tetrises to start off. Dengler with another one. 5 straight Tetrises to begin the match. Sidnev will take the first burn of the game and get a Tetris. Dengler still all Tetrises so far. What's a 5 and below? It's where you use a blue J, and instead of putting it flat and putting a incoming square on top of it, you set up a square tuck with the blue J by putting it upside down. You get a little bit of a flatter build with that. $207 for Dengler, 188 for Sidnev. It's 99% a meme, though, not gonna lie. I don't know. I think you get a better leave. Especially if it's over on the extreme left. You don't create a little notch. $255 for Dengler, $280 now for Sidnev. Sidnev ahead by 7 lines. Oh no. Both players 280, basically pretty similar line count. Board starting to climb for both of these players. They're both going to have to take burns to bring this down. Dengler's board not as flat, but able to kind of get some flat burns going out of here. And this is a problem for Dengler on that left side. And Dengler going to top out at 285, and Sidnev is going to the finals. So Dengler did not have his board built out, and so he couldn't take any burns, and finally just kept stacking in that middle, and eventually just didn't have any burns and no room to maneuver. And Dengler will top out Sidnev, going to the finals in a very quick decider, because players did exchange gifts. You know, some kind of early-ish top-outs, and certainly early top-outs exchanged. So Sidnev will be moving on. Let's put the 3 right there. And, I mean, we're not going to watch an entire Mullen from like 70 lines from Sidnev. So we will set up our next match. And if statisticians want to go over to Sidnev's board and follow this all the way, but we are not going to do that. Marfram, you're going to have to go. It's not a true Mullen. Nobody can be expected to watch a Mullen from 70 lines in. So I don't think that is reasonable. So we're not going to do that. If you want to watch that, you can go to Sidnev with an E. Hey everybody, this is your old pal Vandweller, host of Classic Tetris Monthly, and I'm asking you to do me a favor. If you like this video, hit thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like it, please subscribe and bang that notification bell. And follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/monthlytetris. Thank you, and have a nice day.